Thank you very much for having me here. I would like to give you the latest version of our adventures in the space. Let's move on. My name is Niels Buus. I am the first chairman of the company when it was founded 15 years ago, and I've been the CEO since 2014. So that's also quite some years now. We have the CFO as well, Troels. He's not here today, but Troels Dalsgaard, he was also in the company that a long time ago, and he was participating in when we got listed here at the Nasdaq. The chairman of the company is Jens Målø. He's got a lot of experience from the space and defense industry in Denmark. He's the chairman of Grundfos. And the previous chairman, I know you're not operating with vice chairman here in Sweden, but we are. That's Jukka Pertola, a Finnish guy. He's a top 10 board member in Denmark. The company was founded in 2007 and out of the university in Aalborg. And as I said, we were listed in 16 up here. Today we are around 200 employees. We are growing quite a bit, and it's going upwards, and there's a lot to do all the time. We have a long track record with many missions, many products sold to other people's missions, and so forth. We were the first company to deliver nanosatellites for ESA, the European Space Agency. As it says here, our core competence in these small satellites is radio technology, which makes them the satellites very useful. We have a lot of very interesting customers all around the world, all parts of the world we can export to, because there's obviously a lot of sensitive technology that makes it not possible to export to some countries. Last year we had a turnover of 214 million Swedish, and we have right now an order backlog at 540 million Swedish kroner. The guidance for next year is something between 264 and nearly 300 million. It will all depend on how quickly we can get employees into the company. The trip that we are putting the company on now is, and we are announcing step by step new parts of a strategy, is that today we are the technology leader within nanosatellites. But to exploit the opportunities in the market, we are building towards larger constellations and standardizing the product range, and eventually looking into how to deliver services to our customers as well on an infrastructure service basis. Okay, the market is growing very rapidly. This year the market size is about $420 billion US. In 2030 it's expected to be more than $1 trillion, up to 1.4 trillion. And that includes services, but also manufacturing. Okay, we are part of the biggest growing part of the space market, except for OneWeb and Elon Musk SpaceX, which drives a larger part of the satellite market. Our area is by far what's it called, a good growing market. Our technology is affordable. It's affordable for companies, but it's also affordable for countries. And that means that today there's about 100 countries that have space programs. We're working, for example, with Colombia at the moment, teaching them and building up their space capacities. It's illegal opal mining. That's a big problem in Colombia, and you can see that from very small satellites. Okay. The journey that we are going on now is that, as I said, we are a technology leader. We are growing the market now, or growing our business with more and more projects. But when we get projects into the company, we need many engineers. The next phase that we are going into is standardizing so that we are having more products in our portfolio. That means also that we can, it means two things. It means that we can grow the market, grow our business quicker, we can scale quicker, but we can also make more money on it than we do today. We can grow the market with now, but we are not as profitable as we would like to do. The next step is to scale up production. We are getting closer and closer to large constellations, and scaling up the production will again make it possible for us to grow the earnings, but also scale the company on that. And eventually, our aim is to be able to deliver the satellite platforms for other people to put instruments on a service basis. We can see that many of our customers have larger cost of capital than we would have in that situation. So we're driving towards that in our longer term planning at the moment. We are located in headquarters is in Denmark. The head office, you could say, is here in Sweden because we are listed here, but we also have a subsidiary here that makes propulsion for nanosatellites. And then we are in Luxembourg. The Luxembourg government have supported space a lot, so that means that we are building up the facilities there. And by the start of this month, we have also started in Toulouse in France, and will build up a presence there. We can get good engineers in that area. That's the reason for being there. Then we have a sales office in the United States, where we can sell to commercial customers. We are not positioned yet to sell to defense customers, but we will build up our European presence first before we will take a bigger step to go to the US. We have a beautiful headquarters in Aalborg, very close to the university. We have all the facilities for producing, developing, and so forth. What we are doing is that we are making all the satellites. We're developing the parts of the satellites. We're putting the satellites together and making them what's it called, a total product. Then on top of that, we can make the radio payloads. That means the radio technology that can sense what's happening on the ground, or they can communicate to or from the ground and to other satellites. And then we can put it together in total constellations for our customers, meaning that we can control the satellites from the ground. We can help them getting all the licenses. We can help them getting all the launches and so forth. So it's a turnkey solution that we can provide to our customers. The market is driven by digitalization. I think all of you have heard that for many years, that that's the case. But that has also reached space now, and the space solutions can play a part in this, because it can potentially be done at a very low cost compared to terrestrial systems or fiber systems. One case study is that we are making satellites now for air traffic management. We were the first ones with that satellite you can see here to show that it is possible to track aircrafts over remote areas, high seas and things like that. At the moment, we are making 3 very, very advanced satellites for Indra and ENIRA in Spain. They are the top 3 air traffic management companies in the world. And for that, we will be able to make air traffic management, a solution for air traffic management, everywhere on the face of the Earth. That means that an aircraft like the MH370 will never disappear without you know where it happened. Or you would have more distress signals coming back at an earlier time. But it's also included, or what's it called, giving enormously savings. When you have the aircrafts going over the Atlantic, for example, they are flying in corridors, and they're flying with a long distance between each other, and in the corridors and between each other, because they are on their own when they're out there. With this system, You can have the VHF connectivity with them anywhere on the Earth, and you know exactly where they are. It means you can place them closer, and it means that you can save a lot of energy with this. So this is a very, very interesting business case that have taken new developments with the Indra order that we have with them. Yeah, and with this we are really on track to develop the company from a technology company to a more product-oriented company, and eventually to a service company. Every time we take these steps in the company, we open up a larger addressable market. For technologies, the addressable market is about 1 billion. For constellations, it's about $4 billion annually. For services, it's about $10 billion revenue potential or total addressable market for us. So that's very interesting, and the earnings go up accordingly to that as well. So that's a trip that we are putting the company into now over the next years. And just some financial at the end of my presentation here is that we have been able to drive the growth in the technology phase, and we are also on the back of a big, what do you say? We had a big crisis because we lost a big customer at some point. You can see the numbers there; they were very bad. But we survived that, and we have put the company in a completely new situation and be able to work positively into the future. The order backlog is very good. We are having a very good response for everything that we do for our customers. So that's a very good situation as well. The shareholder structure, for those who don't know, we have about 15,000 small shareholders, and the biggest one is 10%, and the next is 3% and 2% after that. So it's very much spread out as it is. To give a highlight, we are a pioneer in this area, and we are now positioned to be able to capture the large growth for the future. The outlook for us is very good because we have a very good order book, and we also have a very good reception for our products in the market. We are positioned to scale up with constellations. We have the first order coming closer and closer to us now. And we are the strongest with regards to technology at the moment in our segment. And we have a very, very strong track record for the company. So with these words, maybe a little bit quicker than intended, but I hope it gave a good overview for where we are and what we are doing. Okay.
Well, thank you very much, Buus. Question about the satellite industry. Yeah. Is there a risk of overcrowding in space? How well regulated is this field of business?
There's a lot of space up there.
That we know.
But if you look at how it was with the pollution of the sea for 30 years ago, you said it's no problem. And you didn't do anything. And today we have a big problem that's very, very difficult to solve. I think it's the same that's going to happen in space. If we do not make sure that we are more careful now, we will have very, very big problems in the future. So what is important is that whenever a satellite is sent up, that there's a mechanism to take it out of orbit again once it's not being used. So at least it's only those that are being used that's up there. The other thing with regulation is difficult because there's no specific owner. Every country have to be in agreement to what to do. So it's UN treaties that's put into legislation in every country, and not everyone is following that. And it's very slow to have this regulation. But we don't see that there is something that's holding the business back at the moment. The biggest challenge is radio frequencies. That is to have the right to send and receive from space. That's the biggest challenge for the business. I foresee that there will be space traffic control like air traffic control. That's an absolutely necessity for the future.
Niels, in terms of aviation, you mentioned the energy savings perspective. Yeah. Could you please elaborate a little bit on that? Maybe I was not the only one who didn't quite understand the energy savings perspective in that transition.
When you fly from here to, I think there's one for San Francisco, here from Stockholm, isn't there? When you fly there, you cannot fly the optimum route because there's
the
many.
Routing perspective.
Yeah, it's the routing because there's many aircraft in the air, so they have to. But if you can place them closer, you don't have to take a detour as otherwise. And also the timing getting into the airport, so you don't have to circulate over the before you can get in. You can plan at the long distance because you know exactly where the aircraft is.
And I assume there is a safety aspect added too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you very much, Niels Buus.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.